Elizabeth Warren recently had a CNN town hall not long ago, a couple days ago. It might have been Sunday-ish, somewhere around there. I forgot what exact day it was. But I noticed that there was a specific comment that she had made that went viral because on Twitter it was trending for a long time. Like for a full 24 hours it was trending. And that was her comment in which she advocated abolishing the Electoral College. Now, of course, this is a very heated situation of debate because it becomes extremely partisan. And so, obviously there's a lot of fierce debate going on both sides. And so she had made this comment during the CNN town hall, and everyone started kind of going after each other. It became Electoral College or no Electoral College. I'm sure you know my opinion on it. Of course, it should be abolished, but we're gonna get into talking about this in a second here. So, Ben Shapiro from the Daily Wire, which has now become basically AOC 24/7. I'm actually surprised they talked about Elizabeth Warren. I'm surprised they found it in between talking about dumb conspiracies that she's an actress, which is absolutely insane. He is going to critique her. Check this out.
The idea leader in the left base right now, the person who keeps throwing out ideas to no avail, is Elizabeth Warren. She did a big town hall event on CNN last night. And in that town hall event, she just kept throwing out more and more radical proposals. She suggested, for example, that it was time to abolish the Electoral College, which obviously is a great idea. And colors of the wind, man. One of the things that you love about Elizabeth Warren is that she says that she is for America's institutions being durable enough to contain President Trump, and yet she wants to abolish the Electoral College. Here she was yesterday talking about abolishing the Electoral College.
Presidential candidates don't come to places like Mississippi. Yeah. They also don't come to places like California and Massachusetts, right? Because we're not the battleground states. Well, my view is that every vote matters. And the way we can make that happen is that we can have national voting, and that means get rid of the Electoral College and
Okay, there's something mildly opportunistic about this. There are arguments for getting rid of the Electoral College. I actually hear those arguments. I think they're reasonable arguments for it, but the argument can't be Trump won. And that, unfortunately, is the Democratic argument on this score. The Electoral College has served America pretty well. And the fact is that if we were to have a straight popular vote, there is no question that people who live in the rural areas would certainly feel a greater divide from people who live in the cities, because the fact is that the cities would then dominate our electoral politics. Nobody would get campaigned to. It would be everybody campaigning in LA and New York and Washington, D.C. and Chicago and Dallas, all of which, listen, all great cities. I mean, I live in LA. I've been a city boy all my life. But the fact is, if you want to help rural divides be overcome, that's probably not the way to do it. That wasn't the only radical Elizabeth Warren proposal. She also said that she would think about eliminating private insurance. I like how Democrats are just like, yeah, I'll think about this proposal to eliminate 165 million health care plans. It's worth considering. Well, maybe you should have considered it before you entered a presidential race, lady.
You are a co-sponsor of Senator Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All bill, and I understand there are a lot of different paths to universal coverage, but his bill that you've co-sponsored would essentially eliminate private insurance. Is that something you could support?
He's got a runway for that. I think we get everybody together, and that's what it is. We'll decide. We start with our values, we'll get to the right place.
So theoretically, though, there could be a role for private insurance companies under President Warren.
Or there could be a temporary role. It's a big and complex system, and we've got to make sure that we land this in a way that doesn't do any harm. Everybody has got to stay covered. It's critical.
Okay, so she has no solutions, but she is saying all the words that people want to hear. This is Elizabeth Warren's shtick. She's trying to steal Bernie Sanders' base. I don't think that it is going to go where she wants it to go. There's one area where she believes that she can make some hay, and that is on the intersectional theory area. She believes that she can move into Kamala Harris's base if she panders hard enough.
All right, so as you guys just saw there, Ben showed the clip of Elizabeth Warren talking about the Electoral College, and it's really weird because he doesn't really rebut Elizabeth Warren. He did a very sort of lazy job of covering the whole situation in the first place, like the whole Electoral College comments made by Elizabeth Warren, because he doesn't even rebut it, and he just kind of plays it and then just says his like on-tune talking point. So what did he respond with? He was like, his first thing he said basically was like, well, there are legitimate criticisms, but the reason most liberals give or whatever, your reason is that Trump won, and that's not right. But dude, did you watch the clip you just played? Like, you just played the clip. Didn't you just see it? She explained very clearly her reason that's not Donald Trump won. That's not a reason. So did you watch the clip you just played? I don't understand. She just told you why. It's because my vote here in California means nothing. It means diddly squat. It means crap. Okay, I have no incentive to go out and vote for president, period. There's always incentive to vote for everything else. But for president, my vote doesn't matter. I'm in a very safe blue state. You think Cali's going Republican? You tripping out, dog. That's not going to happen. So my vote means nothing in California, while someone's vote in these battleground states, whether it be now, I guess you can count the Rust Belt in there because those are important states to win back now. But, Ohio and Florida, these other states, Ohio, Florida, now the Rust Belt, and these different battleground states that exist that, they need to win, their votes matter the most. My vote doesn't mean anything. So that's really the main problem is this isn't really, it's not every vote is equal at this point. That's the thing. That's the problem. And it's really weird because I saw this meme basically that was trying to support the Electoral College being in place. And it shows how Trump won like a super amount of counties in the United States. And it's supposed to be like this idea that some bumfuck dude in Wyoming and, Idaho or whatever in these other areas should have more voting power than me because they're the only person there. Like, why? Why would that be the system? I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense. And also, the main counter to the idea of abolishing the Electoral College from conservatives is basically just, well, then it's not going to be fair because the rural people are going to have no power to vote. But the problem is the way you're responding to that in the first place is like as if it's equal right now, but it's not. My vote doesn't mean anything. While people in Florida, Ohio, the Rust Belt states, other battleground states, their votes matter a lot more than mine. They're valuable. They're a lot more valuable than mine. So when you say they're just going to go to the urban areas, then right now, where are they going? They're just going to battleground states. So again, this is like a sort of weird tit for tat situation. You know what's crazy too? I think Wyoming is the least populous state in the country, right? And I think they only have one representative. I think it's Wyoming at large. But think about that, you guys. One representative for an entire state. Seriously. Wyoming. What is Wyoming known for? Kanye wrote music there. He went there to do his secluded place or whatever. And that's where the Drake and Pusha T thing happened. But anyways, the point being here, what they're known for is that Kanye went there to write music. Who cares about Wyoming? Any of these rando states, Idaho, Nebraska, who you met been like, yeah, I'm from Nebraska, Idaho. No, you just don't see it. And they have 2 senators. This is pretty remarkable if you think about it, because California, a state with, what is it, over 35 million people at this point, I think it's 35. And then you have Wyoming, which has 300, 400,000 people as a full state. And they have the same amount of senators as California. Now, at the very least, if it were it's less, but it's not as low, as it could be. So, if it was, I don't know, a 4-1 Senate thing or something like that, instead of a 6-1 Senate thing, it would be different. But the point I'm trying to make here is, how the hell do they have 2 senators the same way that California does? The Senate, when you think about that, is pretty problematic, to be honest with you. And I think Kyle Kalinske just straight up wants to abolish the Senate. I'm not that radical in my move towards the Senate, but just thinking about that is crazy. You got 1 district, Wyoming at large, and you have 2 senators. You have more senators than reps. That is insanity, okay? There's no way in hell that you should have the same amount of senators, Wyoming, as California. And you should feel guilty about that, honestly. And then I think he said in there, oh, yeah, it's been a great system so far. How? 2 elections since 2000 have been flipped because of the Electoral College. So how has it been a good system? You're talking about real great democracy at work, right? I mean, you've got a quote-unquote democracy where the popular vote is essentially, overridden by the Electoral College. How is that a good system? That is a really, really bad situation. And again, just there's no way that some dude in bumfuck Alabama or whatever rural area that you keep mentioning should have a more vote. Their vote should be valued more than mine is ridiculous. It should be one person, one vote, and those votes should be worth the same. That's what the system should be. So we should have a national popular vote. We shouldn't have the Electoral College. And remember what happened. This the problem is it's a very partisan issue. So what I mean by that is it really ends up depending on who's winning. That's the problem. Because remember, what did Trump say? What did Donald Trump, the president who won based on the Electoral College, not the popular vote, what did he say when it was expected, while the counting was still going on? It was expected that Mitt Romney was going to win the popular vote while the Electoral College went to Obama. What was the tweet that he sent out? He said that he hated the system. I forget if he had gone as far to say that he hopes it's abolished. But this is the problem, man. And honestly, Ben Shapiro doesn't even seem like he's very solid in his stance or very strong in his stance against the Electoral College, which is very interesting to me. That's probably because he's in California.